Schedule release week, you wait for the schedule that comes out. You play your first version of the win-win, loss game, which we did right here on the channel. You can check that video out here on the channel. And then you start to kind of ruminate and think a little bit more about the schedule. And I always think, are there 4 or 5 games on a schedule that can really define a season? Well, I found the 4 season-defining games for the Houston Texans. 4 games that will really tell us everything we need to know about how the Texans are going to operate and how they can go about creating some momentum within this schedule. Let's talk about them right here. Let's start with game number 1. We're going to week 2, the Monday Night Football matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, why is this one a season-defining game for the Houston Texans? Well, regardless of what happens in week 1, you've got the home opener to set the tone for the upcoming stretch of games. A couple of AFC South matchups, and then the Baltimore Ravens dauntingly waiting after the first month of games, and then the bye week. Okay, if you win week 1 against the LA Rams in LA, you got to carry that momentum over to the home opener against a pretty tough defense and an impressive Baker Mayfield-led offense. You got to be able to take care of your business. If you lose week 1 against the LA Rams, a bounce-back opportunity against a division winner from last year is right there in front of you on Monday Night Football. Here's another element of this game that will help define things, especially early on for the Texans. It's a 6 o'clock kickoff. Are you going to be able to create your energy in the building if the fans don't get in their seats because traffic and everything else keeps you from having a full stadium? If this was normal Monday Night Football, I'd have no worries about the Texans having a full joint, have it rocking, and be able to really feed off that energy. That 6 o'clock start that the NFL gave you because it's a doubleheader on Monday Night Football, you're going to be able to have that energy. The home opener is always an incredible crowd. This needs to be no different as well. And you think about what happens in week 1, you can erase it if it's a loss. You can build on it. Man, if you are an undefeated football team heading into that matchup with the Baltimore Ravens, well, you'd be feeling something nice headed into that matchup. Think about where the Texans have been each of the times they've played the Ravens. They kind of hobbled into the Christmas matchup after getting past the Miami Dolphins and losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, the big injury to Tank Dell just playing a few days later on Christmas, the funky schedule, the late bye week that really didn't give them a chance to rest and reset like a typical bye week. And then even the first 2 games against the Ravens and D'Amico Ryan's tenure. First game of the season, and then the playoff game. Sure, you had a little bit of juice in the playoff game, but you already lost to the Ravens once. If you're going 4-0 into that matchup, you're going to feel pretty good about your chances going to Baltimore, trying to upset the Baltimore Ravens, get that first win over Baltimore in the D'Amico Ryan's era, and score your first offensive touchdown against the Ravens since 2020. God, that sounds terrible, but you can only build that momentum if you take care of business in week 2 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Monday Night Football. That's the first season-defining game of the schedule. Number 2 on the season-defining games in the schedule, you want to talk about building momentum or bouncing back or really starting something and taking off with it? Seattle Seahawks, Monday Night Football. This is a little bit tougher than when I first looked at it and really kind of thought about it. If this was just your typical Monday Night Football game, I don't think you have too much to worry about. But the fact that this is a Monday Night Football game with a 9 o'clock central kickoff after the bye week. So not only do you have the bye week where you kind of reset, you refocus, you get geared up, coming out of the bye week, you do a lot of work. You don't get in a typical schedule coming out of the bye week, okay? You don't have your normal operating procedure because you got that extra weight. And so coming out of the bye week, no normal schedule to jump back into. You got that long wait, and then your body clock is all off when you're on the West Coast to take on the Seattle Seahawks. You got to be ready to take care of business against a team like Seattle. It's a 10-win team last year, but they have had some changes. They're not as daunting and as impressive of an organization as they were a year ago. Playing in Seattle on the road, Monday Night Football, their fans are going to be hyped up. Still early enough in the season that they'll probably have a lot of belief in themselves. It does feel like the type of game that if you accidentally stumble there, it could really snowball as you try to catch up and make up for that loss to Seattle later on in the schedule. But if you win against the Seattle Seahawks on Monday Night Football, you carry that juice and energy into the short week, the very next week of action, and you can start to build because you've got 3 straight home games right after that Monday Night Football matchup, that late Monday Night Football matchup with the Seahawks. Win that game, 3 home games in a row, you've got an opportunity for momentum on this schedule and really build out of the bye week, especially if you take care of business against the Ravens. You got to carry that through the bye week into that Monday Night Football matchup. And you know what? If you lose to the Baltimore Ravens, you get a great bounce back opportunity on Monday Night Football. It's a weird setup, but it is a game that can really set you up if you're the Houston Texans to go on a nice little run here in that middle part of your schedule. Speaking of the middle part of the schedule, we're going smack dab in the middle, the third season-defining game for the Houston Texans, the Denver Broncos. That's a Denver Broncos team that was really good last year. Their quarterback played better than your quarterback last year. Their head coach did a better job with his team last year than your head coach did. Look, DeMeco Ryans did a great job last year, but Sean Payton did a better job with the Broncos. Now, the Broncos are going to have some of the same challenges in year 2 of Bo Nix that I'm sure the Texans had in year 2 of C.J. Stroud. The book is out on Bo Nix. The film is out on Bo Nix. There's going to be teams that have whole adjustments to their defense ready for a guy like Bo Nix, just like they were ready for C.J. Stroud in year 2. Well, DeMeco Ryans is going to have that ready for Bo Nix, a guy that had a really impressive rookie season and has a really impressive offensive-minded mastermind head coach that can help build on what Bo Nix has. But none of that matters if you've got a defense ready for Bo Nix. Remember all the struggles C.J. Stroud had? I would expect that Bo Nix could have those against the Houston Texans, smack dab in the middle of the schedule. Not only is it in the middle of the schedule, it's the middle part of that homestand I just talked about coming out of the Monday Night Football game with the Seahawks. You win, bam, 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 those 3 home games right there, San Fran and then Denver. After you win the Monday Night Football matchup with the Seattle Seahawks, momentum. Well, you're really starting to tumble through the momentum in this schedule and building. Remember, the Texans had a couple of games that flipped the wrong way for them at the end of the schedule and the back half of the schedule. But they were so successful early on, the rest of the AFC South and some of the teams in the AFC were playing catch up to them. If this is a Denver Broncos team that was a good team last year that you handle in the middle of the schedule, in the middle of that homestand, that's a game really could go either way, and you flip it to a win, now all of a sudden you're starting to think about the 3 seed in the AFC, maybe the 2 seed in the AFC. And of course, if you've handled your business to a large degree up to this point, you turn this one into a win, you start to snowball some things in a very positive direction. You want to change the conversation in the playoffs. You want to change the narrative about, the Houston Texans, Saturday afternoon, opening wild card weekend. Go out there, win games like the Denver Broncos game, and put yourself in the AFC pecking order and to get yourself out of that 4 spot in the AFC playoff rankings. Find yourself with the 3 or the 2 or maybe an ever elusive number 1 next to your name. To get that number 1, taking care of Denver in the middle would go a long way. And of course, as a quality or expected quality opponent, you want to handle the Denver Broncos right there in the middle of your schedule. And my God, on the off chance that somebody's better than you in the AFC South, you want to be ahead of Denver in the playoff pecking order. But I don't think that's going to happen. The 4th season-defining game of the schedule for the Houston Texans all the way to the back end. Nope, not that final week against the Colts. Back up just one more. The LA Chargers at the back end of the schedule. And here's why I put this one in here. It's not just the opponent, because it is a quality opponent. It should be a quality opponent, and I know the Texans dominated them in the playoff game. They made Justin Herbert look like a total fool at the quarterback position. DeMeco Ryans and his crew embarrassed Jim Harbaugh and his crew. I can't imagine that happens back-to-back times. This should be a pretty tough game to deal with. And when you look at the Texans' schedule, you look at the back of their schedule the past couple of years, they've had some uh-ohs at the back end of the schedule. Okay, you've had some uh-ohs that really stymied momentum, that took you out of and made you had to kind of refocus and think about things. Of course, last year it was getting your head smashed by the Baltimore Ravens on Christmas, but you don't want those little late season uh-ohs on the schedule anymore. Again, you're trying to go from that 10-win, fourth spot in the AFC playoff pecking order, opening wild card weekend Saturday afternoon. You're trying to go from that to higher up in the AFC standings. You got to take care of business against the Los Angeles Chargers. You got to handle your business down the stretch. It sets up for the Texans to be really hot heading into the playoffs. 3 of their 4 final home games at home. Not expected to be significantly tough opponents with the Cardinals and the Raiders and the Colts in those home games. The Chargers, the best team in that 4-game slate. And if you go to LA, not going to be a hostile environment, not going to be a bad weather game. You go to LA, take care of a team that should be hovering around the playoffs. And then, again, that momentum word. Uncle Mo's got to sit on the Texans' shoulder to get where they want to go in the AFC. And taking care of the Chargers at the end of the season is a key to it. So, Tampa on Monday Night Football. In Seattle on Monday Night Football, at home against the Denver Broncos, smack dab in the middle of that schedule. And then on the road at the back end of the season in LA against the Chargers. Those are the 4 season-defining games for the Houston Texans as we look at the schedule right here in May. What games are your season-defining games for the Houston Texans? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out SNL with myself and Landry Locker, the Locker Room, each and every weekday at 4 p.m. Subscribe to that channel. We had a great conversation this week with Special Teams Coordinator Frank Ross. Did some great stuff supporting his charity. Really appreciate everybody being so generous with that. It's a conversation that is certainly worth your time. So go check that out on the SNL channel. And, of course, if you missed the first edition of the Win-Win Loss-Loss game, it's right here on this channel, so you can catch that as well. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I can't wait till we talk Texans again soon. Food Review Friday coming your way right now. Okay, I got a hit list for you. I got some stuff on the horizon that I really want to get to, like the Pop-Tart ice cream sandwiches. The fine folks at Miller Lite and Pringles collaborated on some chips that I think could be pretty good. So if you have something you want me to try, you see it in the store and you don't want to use your money on it without knowing if it tastes good or not, and you trust me, let me know. Comment section down below, stuff that you want me to try here for Food Review Friday. We've got a whole summer where we can put some stuff in on Food Review Friday. Heck, we might even have a live Food Review Friday show where we try a whole bunch of things. I might even come to you and do a Food Review Friday with you. You never know what we're going to get up to when it comes to Food Review Friday. This week, though, it's not new, but it's new to me, and it's the first time I saw it. And, oh, my, I did not know that the fine folks at Dr. Pepper made a Dr. Pepper cherry, and they make a Dr. Pepper zero sugar cherry. And I like the zero sugar beverages more than the regular ones. But back in the day, Dr. Pepper was my thing. I used to drink a 3-liter like every day and a half. I'm not proud of that. It's just how much I like Dr. Pepper. One time, I went to a fantasy draft with some buddies, and I had to drive back that night, so I couldn't partake in the booze and the beverages. So I brought a 6-pack of Dr. Pepper bottles, and I drank all of them in like 3 hours. Again, not proud of it, but I used to love Dr. Pepper. I basically mainlined it. So when I found out that Dr. Pepper has a flavor that includes one of my favorite flavors, which is cherry, I could not wait to get to it. So let's get you a rating on the Dr. Pepper zero sugar cherry. As always, a sip, a swish, and a gulp to really get the flavor of the beverage. So without further ado, cheers. Ooh, okay, initial sip. This is good. Initial sip, very good. Hint of cherry, not a heavy, overwhelming flavor. And cherry can kind of be a fickle, artificially sweetened flavor. So you always worry about cherry on beverages like this. So there's the sip. Let's get a swish. Okay, I mean that very much feels like the bartender took your kid's Dr. Pepper and just poured some of that grenadine right in there, man. That just feels very much okay. We got to get the gulp here because beverages sometimes they taste different from a sip to a swish to a gulp. Here's a gulp. Okay, it's not a bad gulping drink, but it is this is delightful. Okay, and I know summer is here in Houston, and it's gonna get hot, and sometimes beverages like this aren't the best summer beverages. I wouldn't recommend drinking this by the pool, but man, this is good. If you're a mixed drink guy, a little whiskey in this, yeah, okay, drink responsibly, but a little whiskey with a hint of cherry or some rum with a hint of cherry in there, oh, you're really gonna enjoy this. I like this a lot. Dr. Pepper, zero sugar cherry. Maybe I'm a little biased here because Dr. Pepper is one of my favorite beverages. I think Dr. Pepper Zero is one of the best zero-calorie beverages out there. Scales 1 to 11. 11 is the greatest of all time. 1, you wouldn't even put it on the practice squad of beverages. This is going to be up there for me. I love cherry. I love Dr. Pepper. 10.4. 10.4 for a Dr. Pepper zero sugar cherry. I love this. It is a strong recommend. If you find it in just a bottle and you want to try it, that's probably a good way to go about it. But man, I'm going to have to get me some 12 packs of this because, oh, buddy, let me tell you, I saw this and I knew I had to try it. And I got 11 more of them sitting in the fridge. I got a hunch I'm going to have about 36 more of them after I go find the best soda deal around. I like that a lot. So 10.4, one of the highest scores we've ever had here on the channel for food reviews. Appreciate you sticking around. And again, let me know what you want me to review. You see something? Again, we're going to start adding in restaurants here as well. So food that you can buy at the store, restaurants, fast food specialty items. We'll do it all for you right here on the channel. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoy it. If you try it, I can't wait until we food review again soon.